right, my friends, Eric Andreas, your Guitar Sage here. I believe we are live. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram. Now, I'm going to be taking questions today only on Facebook and YouTube. It's hard for me to see Instagram from here on the phone. So I will be answering those questions. So if you're on Instagram and you really want to get your questions answered today, you know where to go. Go to my Facebook, facebook.com/YourGuitarSage, or youtube.com/YourGuitarSage. For those live bits, okay? So I'm opening up Facebook right now. I want to make sure, you guys can hear me there. Hey, we got the new studio, right? Got the new backdrop. We got new guitars. We got new camera angles. Chris and I have been working in the studio like nonstop here for about a week and a half, I'd say. We've got a few little finishing touches that we've got to do, and it's going to be amazing. More so for us on this end, it's going to be a lot more efficient and that sort of thing. But it's going to mean good stuff for you guys, okay? And also on YouTube, even though I'm not seeing any chat there, we'll get that part figured out. If not, I may only be answering questions on Facebook today. All right, my friends. So today we're going to be talking about 3 ways to use the scales without getting overwhelmed. And we're going to be doing a live Q&A. So, and we're gonna actually try to resolve this really quickly with YouTube here. So just hold on. All right. So the things that we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be talking about 3 different ways that you can use scales, right? So a lot of people, they're very confused about scales. They may say, well, I know scales and I play them, but I just truly don't know what to do with them. There's 3 things that you can do with scales that we're going to be talking about today in no particular order. The first thing is we're going to be talking about from a theoretical standpoint. So knowing scales is a very helpful thing because we can use this for music theory. We can also use it for, number 2, for improvisational bits or creating our own melodies like I did just now. So I have a chord progression going. It was in the key of A major, and I was using a little bit of A major in it, and I was also using a little bit of A major pentatonic. So all sorts of good stuff regarding that. And the third way that we can use scales is we can use it for dexterity and getting our hands warmed up. Why would we do this as opposed to just a simple dexterity exercise? Well, because we're having some patterns here. We can see these patterns, which we, if we're just using a straight up exercise, say like exercise 1 or 2. Thank you so much, Chris. Chris, my ninja, I don't know what I'd do without him, is always fixing stuff that I'm breaking. So he has set us up with, we're on YouTube. I've got my YouTube comment, so yay. All right. Thank you, Chris. All right, so that's what we're going to be doing today. No particular order. Let's define what a scale is, and let's define a scale. Okay, so a scale essentially, and this could actually be argued a little bit, is essentially a pattern. Okay, a set of notes on an instrument that create a pattern. Okay, we want to really think about it very generally because really there's hundreds and hundreds of scales. If we're talking about all the different keys, probably 1,000 or more, okay? But really there's only a few that we're going to use like 99% of the time. You know me, I like to take the things that we're going to use a lot and the things that we're not going to use very often, we'll get to those. We can get to those eventually, but let's master the things that we're going to use all the time. Why are we going to look at the Neapolitan Hungarian diminished minor scale when you're never ever going to use it, okay, unless you're in Hungary. All right, so let's not look at those. Let's look at the ones that we're going to use all the time. All right, so essentially that's what a scale is. Now we have an idea as to how we can use these, okay? So for today, we're going to delve into these 3 subjects. I'm going to be taking some questions from you guys, and what else? That's it. That's about it, okay? So let's go into the details here. I got a little bit of dust since my studio is a little bit dusty still. All right, so let's, no particular order here, but we're going to start with the theory part of this, okay? Music theory. A lot of people scared of music theory. Why? Because they don't understand it. Once you understand it, and it's really simple to understand, if you can add, you can understand music theory. Seriously, it's that easy, okay? If you can just do simple addition, if you can count to 7, bam, you're in. You know all about music theory. You just need someone to show you that it's literally this easy, okay? Take it from a guy who took algebra 5 times in college, and I didn't take it 5 times because I loved it, okay? 5 times. It was a lot of money spent on algebra, okay? So from a guy who's not a math whiz, let's say, you can get this. So let's talk about it from a real simple point of view, the major scale. For those of you who haven't been through my free course, I go into this in a lot more detail, okay? We'll talk about that. I've got a place for you to go if you want that. We'll go into that later. Because all the questions that I get typically can be answered by that free course that I'm going to provide for you today. Okay, the major scale. Very simple. You've heard it before. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. There's 7 notes in it. The 8th note, if you will, is really just a repeat of the 1. So we say there's 7 separate notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1. That's why it's called the octave. Oct meaning 8, like octopus. It's the 8th note. And when we're talking about octaves, we can literally do this over and over again. We can say, we can do this all over the neck, right? That's the cool thing about the guitar is that we only need to know 1 or 2 little patterns, and we can play all over the neck. I teach about this all the time in my other courses, in my other lessons. So to know the major scale, it's super, super simple, okay? I won't go into all the details because I'm going to give you that free course, okay? But essentially, it goes like this. You don't have to memorize this now because I've got a PDF for you and the whole 9 yards, so you don't have to write any of this stuff down. Just try to understand this conceptually right now, okay? And just nod your head if you don't get it, okay? So essentially, any note that we start on and we play this pattern, whole step, half step, whole, half, we get a major scale. Half step is the distance between one fret and the next. Okay, so if we're going a half step up, we're going 1 fret up. If we're going half step down, it's 1 fret down. A whole step is 2 halves, so 2 frets up. Okay, so we say whole, half, whole, half, or WWH, WWWH. Here, I'm going to show it to you. Okay, so we're starting on a G here. We say whole, half. So we play our first note. Don't say whole when you hit the note. You say whole when you're moving the note because that note, the whole or the half, is a movement. It's not a note. It's the space in between the 2 notes. So you don't want to say whole because we hadn't done anything yet. That's a 1, right? The whole is the difference. It's a whole step. So between 2 notes. So when you're moving your hand, that's when you say it. You may say that's a detail that you're going on and on about, Eric. I promise you, I've sat in front of a few hundred students, thousands and thousands of lessons. Every single time I teach this, they mess it up. Almost every single time. So they say whole, half. Now they're playing a minor scale. No, you got to play your note. When you're moving the note, you say whole, half, whole, half. Okay? So we're going to do this in a few different ways, a few different scales, but that was starting on a G. Here's what's so great about the guitar is that you could do this pattern starting on any fret, on any string of the guitar, do that same exact pattern. You'll have all the notes that you need for that particular scale or that particular key. Sharps, flats, all the rest. Now you may not know them right away. You may have to analyze them using how to name the notes on the fretboard that's in the free guitar series. But essentially, you don't even have to know that. If you just started here in this G, right, and I say whole step, half step, whole, half. I don't even have to know that those notes are all natural except for the F sharp. I don't have to know that. I can just know, here it is. And I could be playing in the key of G. I could play my scale right over the top of that. Now, I also teach in that free series a scale form that is not linear. Okay, so this is linear, meaning on one string, but I have one that goes across a few strings. You can hear it's the same bit. It's the same scale. We can play scales many, many different ways. So don't get confused about, well, somebody showed it this way, but then you're showing it to me this way. That's okay. There's lots of ways to play chords, lots of ways to play scales. And if we know the definitions, they're going to be the same thing. So a G major scale is a G major scale. Doesn't matter where. If I play it like this, your ear hears that's a G major, or this, or this. Same thing. It's all the same sound-wise, okay? Maybe doing different fingers, but that doesn't matter, okay? At least in regards to the scale, the quality of the scale, okay? So, we've got this form here. Now, why is that helpful? Well, because if we name the notes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, we can learn all about chord embellishments. I teach all about this. Can learn about the Nashville number system. I've got videos for that. Basically, understanding this from a basic organic level is truly going to help. So if somebody says, hey, a major chord is the 1, the 3, and the 5 notes from the major scale. Okay, and you're like, well, what does that even mean? Well, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 3, 5 notes from the major scale, and that gives us our G major chord. Well, there's a 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 1. All 1s, 3s, and 5s. That gives us our major chord. Every major chord is just made up of 1s and 3s and 5s. Okay, so it's helpful for that sort of thing. It's helpful for being able to embellish scales. Okay, we're not going to get into all the details of that because this would be like a 40-hour live lesson, and we're not doing that, okay? I've got lots and lots and lots of free videos for you to understand this stuff, but you're going to have to go down the rabbit hole if you want to know it. This is not one of those things that you get to watch one little video and you become a rock star. To be a rock star, you really got to dig in the dirt, and you got to put your big boy pants on, your big girl pants on, and you got to dig in the dirt and not be afraid of having some fun on the guitar. I mean, geez, it's not digging a ditch, right? It's having fun. It's a guitar. It's why it's called playing the guitar. It's super fun. So don't be afraid to really dig in. I get questions all the time from folks saying, you know, I'm practicing 15 minutes a day and I don't understand. I'm not getting any progress. I wonder why. Well, it's because you're spending 15 minutes a day on the guitar. Like, if you spent 15 minutes a day with your girlfriend or boyfriend or wife or husband, how far you think you're going to get along with that relationship? Probably not very good. Not very well, okay? So we'll know it from music theory. Now, again, that's where we're going to stop on the music theory part because we could go really down this rabbit hole and we won't have the time to do that today. Let's talk about dexterity, okay? And before I do that really quickly, let's do this. So the little bit that I was playing in the beginning was a song that I wrote in college, just like a little jazz tune called Lazy Old Day, and it's in the key of A major. So to show you this bit here, if I play, that's the key of A. Now, if I play this little bit here, which is in the key of A, then I can use this linear scale. Watch this. I'm starting on an A, and I'm saying whole step, half step, whole, half. That whole bit, right? That we talked about, that's in detail in the course, should you forget everything I'm saying now. And I'm just going to use that right on that one string. And then I'm going to go into the other form that I talked about. It's going to sound the same, but you're going to be able to see that this works. We're in the key of A major. Okay, so here we go. So this is the key of A major. I can just play this. That's one form. Now I can play this other form. could do a major pentatonic. Get the idea? So, all that to say, I just took that one form, the very first form that I teach all my students, and that allows you to see that, man, it's really simple. Whole step, half step, whole, half. Works for any key, doesn't matter. You start on that note and you follow that pattern, you have the major scale for that, okay? Now, from that, we can derive a ton of theoretical stuff from it. Not going to go down that path. Right now, what we're going to be talking about is the number 2 bit that you can derive from scales that are truly going to, it's going to help you so much. And that is to actually just play them for eye-hand coordination, muscle memory, strength, all the rest. Now, again, why, Eric, would you say this instead of just practicing exercise 1 or 2 like you have in the free course? Well, those are great. And especially they're great for folks that are having a hard time fretting. If you have any issues fretting and you're like, I'm doing this, I've done this, I'm having a problem with this, that is perfect for that, because what it does is it keeps you out of thinking about the music like we're doing here with this major scale, and it gets you to just think specifically about technique. Okay, what do I mean by that? It would be like if we were playing baseball, okay, and the first time as a 4-year-old kid, you're coming up to bat and you're getting ready to hit the ball, and now all of a sudden your coach goes, whoa, we got to talk about the rules of the game. Okay, so in this situation, we got it's called a pinch hit. I don't know. Nonetheless, there's all these different nomenclature, definitions, rules for the game. What happens if at T-ball, you're just getting ready to hit that ball and they stop you and they say, okay, we're going to learn about a pickle, what it looks like between third and fourth base, or someone's running back and forth and the people are pitching the ball. And what happens if they go off on this and you're like, dude, I just want to hit the ball, right? They're going on to all these rules. Or if you were playing football as a little tyke and they get into all these, talking about all these different definitions and possible plays and stuff, you just want to run with the ball, okay? That's what exercise 1 and 2 are about in the free course, is that if I'm showing you this and we're just talking about dexterity, you're going to get it better, okay? But like, assuming you've done that and now you're wanting to learn more about scales, now we're talking more about those rules we talked about in the baseball and the football. So, and this is a good thing to graduate from, because you don't want, in the NFL, they do more than just running with the ball. There's a lot of strategy, right? So to graduate, to become big boys and girls, we've got to learn some of these rules. So the major scale is a great one to work with. So using pattern 1, which, again, everything I'm saying here is going to be in that free course. Oh, by the way, YourGuitarSage.com/30. The description, or the link will be in the description of the video, or there you go on the screen right now. The top 30 lessons I teach all my students here in Nashville. People say all the time, Eric, I really want to take lessons from you. I say, cool. You're going to be sitting right here, and we're going to be doing the same exact lessons that I'm teaching here. And it's going to cost you about $1,000. Or you can visit the link and it's free and it doesn't cost you anything. There's no tricks or anything. It's just I wanted to provide something for students so that they could get these questions answered. If you want more from me, I've got more stuff, but that's there for you. It's my gift to you for free, okay? So this is covered, again, in that course. And this is what I call the 1-octave 6th string root major scale. 6th string root because it starts on the 6th string. And you play it like this. You go 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. That's it. Okay, we could keep going up another octave, but right now we're just going to worry about this 1 octave. Okay, so here it is in G major. How do I know that? Because I'm starting on the G, right? And I'm playing the same scale that I did linearly, but now I'm just playing it across 3 strings. So, okay. Now you could do all down picking, or if you're accustomed to alternate picking or economy picking, all stuff that I teach inside my courses, then you could use any of one of those. Doesn't matter. Down picking, alternate picking, economy picking, whatever strikes your fancy. So 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. If we're not moving, okay, if we're not shifting at all, starting on the second finger. 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. Now, why is that important? It's super important because we can use this for dexterity, eye-hand coordination, and really understanding patterns on the fretboard. So we're exercising our hands, and we're starting to start seeing some patterns appear that literally you're going to see for the rest of your life if you plan on picking up the guitar, okay? So the other great thing about this is I teach it to you in one key, then you know it in all keys. And you don't have to know sharps and flats. I mean, if you want to know that stuff, it's helpful. But to be honest with you, I've been playing for 30-something years now, 34 years, and I rarely ever think about sharps and flats. I do when I'm reading music, or if someone's asking me to analyze something and it requires that. But other than that, when I'm playing, I'm playing. You know, I'm driving down the road, I'm not thinking, well, oh, now what's that rule? Is it 200 feet? I hit my blinker before I turn? Oh, crap. Oh, it's 201 feet. Dear Lord, I'm going to screw up the guy behind me. No, you know, you just use your common sense, okay? Same thing with music theory. You can literally not have to learn all these rules unless you need them. Use them. They're there for you. But don't learn them just to learn them, okay? How do you know what to learn? I'm teaching you. I'm showing you. That's why I have step-by-step programs, is to literally walk you through all of it, okay? So we take this form here and we go, okay? We know that in the key of G major. So I can take the same form and move it to any, shift it to any fret, and we're going to get a new scale in a new key. Well, I don't have to worry about sharps or flats. So here we go. Here's G major. If I want to change keys, I just literally bump it up. Bump it up again. This is in the key of A. A sharp, B. Same fingering every time. That's why I can do it and not have to think about it. And I'm also playing all these sharps and flats all the time, but not even thinking about it because I'm just playing this pattern. And this is how most guitar players think. I mean, 99% of the guitar thinking out there is this. People aren't like sharps and flats and this, that, and the other thing. It happens, but it's very, very rare that you need to, because once you have your pattern, you're good to go. And in fact, thinking about all those sharps and flats is very confusing, and it slows your thinking down and your playing. And ultimately, no one gives a crap if you know where the sharp or flat is. Just play the friggin' guitar, right? Would you care if Jimi Hendrix or Eddie Van Halen or Stevie Ray Vaughan knew a lick of theory whatsoever? No, I wouldn't care, because what they're doing sounds amazing to me. With that being said, I promote music theory as much as possible because knowledge is power. So I'm not saying don't know music theory. I'm just saying it's there. It's a tool. It's a hammer in your toolbox. If you need a hammer, go grab it. If you don't have a hammer and you're that idiot trying to hammer a nail with a screwdriver, well, you're going to look like an idiot, right? So get a hammer, learn some music theory, and use it when you need it. Cool? Cool. All right? A lot of head nods out there. Yeah, God, makes sense. Yeah. All right, so that's what we can do. We can do this with anything. We can do this with pentatonic scales. We can do this with blues scales. Doesn't matter. I've got lots of free videos for you on that. On YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage Blues or YourGuitarSage Pentatonic, Pentatonic, also known as the most powerful scale in the world. That's what I call it, because it's literally, you can use it for anything and it sounds amazing. Blues, rock, jazz, country. You know, just have to learn how to finagle it a bit. And let me mention that too. In regards to scales, I get this a lot. Some people will say, Eric, I know all these scales. I know hundreds of scales, but I just don't know how to use them. Do you know why that is? Because you're not using them. It's kind of like going and buying hundreds of hammers or hundreds of tools from Home Depot, and then you don't actually take them out and use them, as opposed to just getting one good hammer, one good screwdriver, and really knowing how to use those. Okay, you could be a carpenter for life as long as you didn't lose those, if you knew how to use them. Okay, so, and I say this in regards to the major scale and the pentatonic scale. If you know those two, you can literally use them in major or minor keys in any single key. You don't have to understand that. Just believe me, okay? I wouldn't make such a claim if my reputation depended on it and I was saying something that wasn't true. I'll say it again. If you know the pentatonic scale and the major scale, you can play that in any key, major or minor, if you know how to insert it into that key. And I teach this for free on YouTube, okay, and in the free course. Okay, so with that being said, so we can use it for dexterity, okay? Eye-hand coordination, the whole 9 yards, right? Now, one other thing. Let's talk about, what's the other thing we're going to talk about? Oh, improvisation. So improvisation is like, just now you heard me do it. I played something in the key of A, and I was using the A major pentatonic. If you want to know more about that, you know where to look on YouTube, okay? Now, again, folks will say, oh, I know the scales, but I don't know how to make them sing. I don't know how to make them say anything, okay? Well, the way to do that is to speak, okay? My 2.5-year-old has never read a book. He's never broken open a dictionary that I know of, and he can't read yet. But oddly enough, the kid knows tons of words, like tons, like maybe hundreds, and he knows how to use them. Weird, right? Well, it's not weird because he learns by osmosis or association, right? It's like if you're around it and someone points at a penguin and says penguin, and he goes penguin, then he learns it, okay? In the same way you can learn, and it's a great way to start off is by using your ear, is to learn improvisation by just playing, okay? How might you do this? Well, if you're inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, that's my big mammoth course, that's my big mammoth course, that if you want a taste of, you can try that free program, and that will you're basically in the program already. You're in the first part of it. Basically, you can learn inside there how to improvise. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is the same thing, but on a much more surface type level. Okay, we won't be delving into it because I need to get to your questions as well. Okay, so for instance, if we're playing in the key of A major, I could use A major pentatonic, or I could use A major scale. I could use either one of those. If I'm playing in A minor, then I could use the A minor pentatonic, or the A minor blues, or the A minor scale. So for instance, let's do this. In fact, I'm going to play something just in the key of A blues, okay? Like A7, D7, E7. By the way, if you're loving this guitar today, this is the little sister by B&G, and I'm going to be doing a review on this. I'm still running it through its paces, and I absolutely am in love with this guitar. You're going to see it a lot. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so I kind of fell out of time there, but that's all right. But nonetheless, okay, so what I did just now is I played something in 12-bar blues, and I used an A7, D7, and an E7. I talk about this a lot on YouTube, the 12-bar blues, and there I could use A major pentatonic, or I could use A minor pentatonic, or I could use the A minor scale. And nonetheless, what I'm doing is I'm learning how to improvise. One of the things that I do inside my courses is I have like what I call Callandresponse, minimalistic blues, that sort of thing. Blues is very simple. It can be, and it can also be complex, but it's a great style, a great one to start off even if you don't love blues. Now, here's the deal. How do you get good at this improvisation? Well, you, just like my little guy, my little 2.5-year-old, right? He learns through just listening, okay? And call and response is this idea of I play something and then you mimic it, okay? I have videos like this on YouTube as well. Just search YourGuitarSage, call and response. Also on YouTube, you can search YourGuitarSage, minimalistic blues. Minimalistic blues, okay? And I teach this, basically from a standpoint of you really only need to know a few notes and then know how to use those. Once you understand this conceptually, then all the other bits happen. Just like when you're a kid, you just learn basic things. Potty, food, owie. You don't need to know all the prepositions and this, that, the other thing. If you say owie, we know what you're talking about. You don't have to say, I bumped my lip. Owie. Okay, we're going to check you out. Yeah, you look, he's got a bloody lip. Okay, you get it? Or hungry. Okay, so this is the way you want to think about guitar playing as well. You just want to get the basic concept at first. A lot of people try to bite off way more than they can chew, and then they quit guitar and they say, I suck at guitar. And that's not the case at all. Anybody who wants to be good at the guitar can be good at the guitar. There is no, I just truly do not believe that anybody has an edge on anybody else. When people are always talking about that, an edge, they're like, oh yeah, well look at this guy. And you see some guy who's just amazing at the guitar and you're like, that means nothing. It means that guy practices ass off. That's what it means. And if you look at someone who sucks, it's because they don't practice. That's all it is. Okay? I hate to tell you that for the folks that really just want to take a pill and be a great guitar player. You come to the wrong place. I am not the guy for you. I'm the guy that's going to be telling you, here are the things to learn them, practice them, and kick ass. Otherwise, I'm not the guy for you, okay? So, without further ado, let's get into some questions. Hopefully that helps you with some ideas on what we can be doing for the guitar and or for scales and how we can use them for our advantage, okay? All right, so I'm going to start off here on, I'm going to use my tie to clean my glasses. I sure am. Judge me. So here we go. We're going to start off at Facebook, and then we're going to go over to YouTube, and we're going to get some questions. And by the way, anybody who is sharing this today, we're going to, again, like usual, we pick 5 winners from folks that have shared it, and we will give, this is what we're going to do. We're going to give a signed book away of one of my first book, Guitar Mastery Simplified, and you're going to get a CD from me as well. And one lucky winner is going to win the Nashville Number System DVD series that I did for True Fire Guitar. One person is going to win that. We'll mail that out to you. Now, if you're overseas or something, we have a hard time getting it to you, then you will win the ebook bundle off of my website. It's a $23 value. That's at YourGuitarSage.com. There's an ebook section there if you want to check that out. Okay, so questions. Here we go. Justin's saying, what looper pedal am I using? Justin, I'm using the Ditto, and in fact, I'm using 2 of them. Okay, so I'm using this one that's at the front of the chain, or I'm sorry, this one's at the back of the chain. This one's at the front of the chain, and I talk about this in my pedal tour video. And this is a TC Electronic Ditto. Nice small form factor. It's really nice because I can just literally record up to, I forgot how many minutes on it, maybe like 2.5 minutes. And I can just sit here and solo over the top of it. Okay, and then if I want to stop it, I double click it. If I want it to turn off, to stop that, then I can hold that button down. So that's what I like to use, and I use it because it's a small form factor. Now I have another one at the beginning of my pedal there, and the reason for that is I can play a part and then I can let it go through the system while I'm tweaking the knobs on my pedals and my amp and everything else, and it's as if I've got a clone of me playing that particular lick that I'm trying to tweak down. I talk about that more in detail in my pedal tour that's on YouTube. Okay, All right. Melody is saying, "Hi Eric, is there any songs you could recommend for a beginner or intermediate player to learn that is a good yet easy practice to learn how to use scales over a chord progression?" Melody, yes. 12-bar blues, always the 12-bar blues. To me, I find it's the easiest, okay? Phil's saying, "When's your birthday, mate? I'll send you a microfiber cloth for those specs." Thanks, Phil. May 31st is my birthday. Jonathan Rosalie is saying, I've been practicing for hours at a time, Eric. Is it normal to feel my left hand finger muscles ache and my hands swell up some?" I don't know about swelling up, Jonathan, but just if you're using muscles that you're not used to using very often, then yes, by all means, you will feel that, and it's a little bit painful. So yes, indeed. Good. Okay. Someone, Asian Kent from Northern Cyprus. Nice. I'm going to bump over to YouTube and get to some questions over there. I know that chat was going nutso the clown here, so here we go. That's an expression we use at the house all the time. Nutso the clown. Also, friends, when you're leaving a question, what do you do? What do? We leave a question mark, right? Leave a question mark, because if I have several hundred comments, I'm going to go right past the one that doesn't have a question mark. Okay, so I'm just looking for question marks. All right, here we go. I found one. I have a request. Someone's saying Drake and Josh, the theme song, Christopher. I'll put it on the list, Christopher, but that list now is hundreds of songs deep, and chances are it won't happen in this lifetime unless I can clone myself, okay? Okay, so sometimes I cannot read these because I've got another camera in the way. So, is there a pattern to the progression of moving the scale up and across the fretboard? Is there a pattern to the progression of Sportster Guy is asking? Sportster Guy, you need to watch my video, my major scale videos in the free course. I'm giving that to you as a gift. It will answer your question. There's no simple way of answering that. Yes, there is. In fact, I just explained it just a few minutes ago. If you missed that, then, or if you need more detail, you need to watch the major scale videos that are inside the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Okay. Okay, Live Heart is saying, "Hello, Guitar Sage. When to use augmented chords in a composition?" Live Heart is saying, here's the deal. When to use the color blue in a painting. Huh? Yeah, when to use, if you asked me, when should I use the color blue in a painting? I would say to you, well, use blue when you want to use blue, okay? There is not a specific way to use augmented chords any more than there is a major or a minor chord. Now, I know you're probably looking for a specific way to weasel in an augmented chord, and I would suggest to you to not think that way. Yeah, we could come up with some music theory as to why that would be helpful, but an augmented chord, for those of you that don't know, is a major chord with a raised fifth degree. So it's taken a major chord and it's taken the fifth scale degree, or the fifth, 1, 3, 5, taking the 5 and sharpening it. That's all it's doing. And it has a sound that sounds a little bit more diminished. And a lot of times, if you're walking something down, like today I was playing, there's a song called "Screaming for a Love Bite." I know it's a ridiculous title, by a band named Accept, and they're a heavy metal band from the 80s that I really was into. And they had some great guitar player, Wolf Hoffman, who actually lives here in Nashville now, one of my guitar heroes. But I was playing that actually this morning at about 4 a.m. during my practice time, and he has this chord in it. It goes like this. It goes. Okay, and that second chord. So here's one, second chord. Here's the third chord. There's the fourth chord. And so if you're looking for a way to use an augmented chord, now that's an augmented power chord, but the idea is, when you have a chord like this A chord, and if there's a note below it, which in the major scale there is, so in this case here, he does this really cool thing by playing an augmented 5 chord, essentially, or an augmented 7th chord, and that's what it's representing, and then he pulls it into by just lifting that first finger up, okay? That's why I don't get into the theory too much, because I know some people are like, what the heck are you talking about? Okay, so Sayan is saying, how are scales different from modes? They're not. Modes, as we know them, the Greek modes, are essentially the major scale, but starting from a different scale degree. So playing the major scale, playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 is known as the major scale. It's also known as the Ionian mode. But if we played that scale from 2 to 2, it would become the A Dorian. Now, to your ear, you're just hearing the same major scale, just played 2 to 2. Where it becomes interesting is when you have the chords behind it that basically represent a different key, essentially. Okay. Now, with that being said, I know I lost a lot of you, and that's why I don't go delving into this, is because people always are, and it's okay to ask these questions, but people look under rocks a lot. When I say that they look under rocks, they're looking for like some hidden gem or something like that when it comes to guitar. And realistically, if you just learn the basics first and do that like 99% of the time, you're going to sound like an absolute beast. Okay, people always looking under rocks to see, well, what can I do with this scale and invent this new thing and what have you. Trust me, we've all been doing this for a few thousand years. Yes, you can play new kind of sounding things. Yes, there's new music, but ultimately it's 12 notes, and all these different combinations have been done before many, many, many times. Okay, so really we're all borrowing from something that's been done before. Okay, okay. Guitar Lovers and Comedy is saying, what's your favorite music genre? Mine is metal. I grew up listening to a lot of rock, classic rock, some pop and kind of alternative at the time. I mean, a lot of AM radio, so I was listening to all sorts of stuff, George Benson, what have you. Just a ton of great stuff, classics, whatever they were at the time. And but I grew up with a lot of metal as well. In fact, when I was a teenager, that's really what drew me to guitar was heavy metal. I know, I don't look like that, but it's true. Okay, Nawiz Sharif is saying, how to know what chords to use underneath the notes we sing or the melody we play. On YouTube, search YourGuitarSage ear. Okay, because that cannot be summed up in something very easily. You need to watch a few videos of mine regarding that. It's called ear training, and on YouTube, search YourGuitarSage ear. Okay. Jay is saying, what is your favorite travel guitar? Jay, honestly, this I've traveled with this now, well, just once, because I just got it, but I'm going to be traveling with it more. This is my favorite travel guitar right now because it's small and it's acoustic, you know, because it's got the F-holes, and it's electric should I want to plug it in. So this is my favorite right now. Now, I do have another travel guitar that's much smaller, and if it broke, I would not be sad, whereas if this one broke, I would be sad. But it's got a real small body, super small body, and normal size neck. But this right now is my favorite. Okay, great questions today. Let's see. LJN from the UK says, started the free course, loving it. Found a YouTube video on the Epiphone Les Paul. Are there any more? I want to get the best out of it. Are there any more what? Okay, so in December, we gave away 30 Epiphone Les Pauls. So if you mean, are there any of those left? No, there are not. But we're always giving stuff away. In fact, I'll mention it right now, a little sneak peek for those that have joined us today, because I haven't announced this anywhere else. I'm giving another one of my personal guitars away. I don't have it sitting here right now. It's in the other studio. But it is my Takamine EAN 10C, I believe it's called. EAN 10C. Chris is bringing that to me now. You are a rock star. Thank you, buddy. This is the guitar I'm going to be giving away I don't know when the date is. You're just going to have to stick around. I can tell, actually, you know something here, I'll tell you the date. And you guys write it down because I'm doing this for you. All right? Write this down, ready? Here we go. It's going to be... Hang in there. Hang in there. It's on a Saturday. Here we go. March the 24th. Write that down. March the 24th at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. March 24th, Central Standard Time, 11 a.m. I'm going to be doing a live broadcast, and I'm going to be giving this guitar away. This is my Takamine. You can see it's seen some love. This was the I don't know, this guitar when I purchased it from Guitar Center maybe 10 years ago now, maybe longer than that. Like an $800 guitar. You can see it's seen some love. It's been in a lot of videos of mine, and it's going to be, thank you so much, Chris. It's going to be going away to somebody that day. We love giving stuff away, and so we gave away 30 Epiphone Les Pauls away in December, and so that one's going to go away. I love giving away personal guitars too. I gave away.
They weren't Les Pauls.
I'm sorry, Epiphone Les Pauls. Yes.
The PRS or the PR. It was an acoustic guitar, not a Les Paul.
You are right, sir. I am sorry. Chris is right. We did not give away Les Pauls last month. I'm a big fat liar. We gave away Epiphone PR150s, but I have given away some Epiphone Les Pauls, so my apologies. We gave away acoustic guitars in December. Thank you, Chris. I'm going to give away this Takamine. I love giving stuff away. It's super fun. How to play open chords all over the neck. Watch my video on YouTube, YourGuitarSage, Caged, C-A-G-E-D. There's a system called the Caged system. If you understand this, you can literally play chords all over the neck, okay? That's all G chord right there, okay? And you can play this with any chord, doesn't matter. Here's an A chord. That's all A chord. You can do this with any chord, and I teach this in the Caged system. Okay, great. What type of finger stretching do you do before playing? So I will do, kind of like I do yoga every morning. So typically I will do this bit where my hands are flat on the ground like that, and I'll twist them all around that way, and then I'll twist them this way, and then I'll do backwards, wrist like that. But if I'm not doing yoga, that's what I'll do. I'll literally put my hand out like this and stretch, and then stretch the other way. And this is great because just like right before you're running, if you're stretching those muscles out, you're pulling them into a place where they can, basically, you're going to have less injury, okay? You're stretching them out beforehand. So that's something that I do. And then exercise 1 and 2 in the free course, that's a great one. And then exercise 3, which I don't know if that's in the free course or not, but it's definitely in the Unstoppable Guitar System, and that's one that I use for stretching all the time, and it's a fantastic exercise, okay? Okay, Ethan, Stacy saying, what's the chord structure of a diminished chord? Okay, again, watch this. We need to have some music theory to understand this. So I'm going to say what the theory definition is. A diminished chord is a minor chord with a flatted 5. Okay, so if we know that this is a G minor chord, or let's take an A minor chord. You know that. That's open position, right? A minor. So if we take the 5th in this and we lower it a half step, then we have, here's the 5. We're going to lower it a half step. Sounds very devious, doesn't it? Okay. So a minor chord with a flatted 5 is the answer there. Okay. Bumping over to Facebook now to get to some questions here. Roy is saying, are you remodeling the studio because the little ninja is getting strong enough to break stuff? And I had March 3rd from your last broadcast for the giveaway. Yes, I'm a big fat liar, Roy, because there was some reason why we couldn't do March the 3rd. So it's not March the 3rd. It's the other date that I mentioned. Okay, and yeah, the little guy, no, I really needed to redo the studio here, and in fact, you've seen us sweating away in here doing so much. We've got some other videos to post regarding that, and we'll be doing that over the next couple of days here. We're almost finished in here, and then I'm going to give you a basic little tour of it. It's a small studio, but we're doing so much with it. It's amazing. I'm really digging it, and it's totally changed my whole vibe in the way that I'm teaching, what have you. So I love it. But yeah, the little guy is practicing ukulele. I've got him doing little things every now and then, so you can expect him to be on camera shortly. I don't know when, but I'm sure sometime. Justin's saying, when you start soloing, I've heard it's better to start with pentatonic because the 2 extra notes in the diatonic can get you in trouble in certain situations. How can they get you in trouble? Okay, so what someone means by that is get you in trouble. The only thing what they're saying there is that it's not get you in trouble. It's just that there's more to choose from. Okay, so like starting off when you're teaching math, you don't teach addition and subtraction and division. You teach addition. So it's basically just starting off more simply. That's all it is. That's what we want to do, is we want to start off more simply. So yes, it's true. Start off with the pentatonic scale. Justin's asking that on Facebook. Mary Beth Anderson Hempel is saying, so you're playing E major, you can play E major scale, E minor scale, and E blues scale with it all mixed together, or the relative minor, C minor. Okay, Mary Beth, so think about this. If you're playing in E major, then you can use E major scales. E major pentatonic, E major blues, E major. If you're playing in the key of E minor, then you can use E minor pentatonic, E minor blues, E minor. Okay. Now sometimes there's exceptions to that, but 99.9% of the time it's just play those. Okay. If the chord structure does a little something different, you might could do that. But I even hesitate saying something like that because most people grab a hold of that and they say, "Well, explain that." No, don't. I'm not going to explain that, and there's no need for you to know that. So if you're playing in a minor key, you're going to play minor in a minor key. If you're going to play in a major key, you're going to play in a major key. Okay, chords. It's kind of like the background, right? The background in a painting is going to hopefully complement what's in the forefront. Okay, it's just simple. If you're matching your clothes, they should match. So it's very simple. Just think in major key, you're going to be playing it in a major key, just like the rest of the band. Or it's kind of like being around somebody who's really, really sad and you're really, really happy. Or if you're really, really sad and they're really, really happy. Both of those can be distracting. It's kind of misery loves company and happy people love happy people. So it's like same thing. What makes a major chord into a minor chord? William Otto is asking on Facebook. Great question, William. I cover this in the expanded chord section that's inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, where I teach you all about the music theory of how to construct chords so that you can take a chord and you can learn literally thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of chords, but without having to actually ever play them. Now you may say to yourself, well, how's that possible? Have you ever counted to 1,000,000? I haven't. I don't have the time for that, but I know I could do it because I have the tools to do it. So same thing with you. You can count to 1,000,000 because you have the tools to do it, knowing 1 through 9 and knowing how the zeros, the decimals work and all that. So same thing with scales and chords. You don't have to have played any of these to conceptually know how they go. I want you to play some of them, right? So what makes a major chord into a minor chord is it's a major chord. Take a major chord and flat the third. Okay, so for instance, here's E major. The thing that makes it major is this note right here, my first finger. If I take that note and I flatten it, now we have E minor. Let's take an A major chord. Here's A major. The pinky is the note that makes it major. If I flatten it, now we have A minor. Let's take D major. If I take this second finger and I flatten it a half step, now all of a sudden, now we have the D minor. So easy enough. Just take any major chord, flatten the third if you know where the third is. You'll know where the third is because you've watched the free series that I'm giving you. All right, great questions. Phil, Tapso on Facebook. What would you recommend as a good process to building up to use scales? Learn scales in various forms, up and down the neck, and then start improvisation. Maybe you could also explain C, etc. shape scale forms. Phil, okay, so I would say just learn form 1 of the major scale and learn form 1 of the pentatonic scale. The major scale, that you can find that in the free course. Okay, learn, and that's the most important one you want to learn anyhow, because you can do that for free. You can use that for music theory. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, it's free. The pentatonic scale on YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage pentatonic. Learn both of those. Remember that you can move them up and down the neck. So just do that. Just play them up and down the neck in every form that you can. Those two scales only to start off. Okay. Then on YouTube, or if you're inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, you got a lot more to choose from. I have 600 jam tracks in there and all sorts of call and response and minimalistic blues and everything else. So if you're in there already, that's where you want to go. Minimalistic blues and call and response. I have some touches of that inside YouTube. You can type in YourGuitarSage call and response or YourGuitarSage minimalistic blues, and you'll get this idea of improvisation using those scales, okay? Blues scale also, that's a good one to learn, which is one note different than the pentatonic scale. Great question, Phil. As far as the C shape, it's the same shape as all the other scales. Here's G major. Here's C major. It's the same exact form. So you don't want to think about different forms. It's the same form. You'd know that if you watch that free series, okay? When a song's in a particular key, do you only play the notes of that particular scale? Sean is saying. Yes, essentially, Sean. You can go outside the scale, but it sounds a little weird, okay? So there are 12 notes that we can choose from. It's called the chromatic scale, and then they repeat, okay? This is with every musical instruments that's diatonic, you know, pianos and guitars and flutes and those sorts of things. So, you know, I'm saying ones that aren't like Indian instruments where they're using microtones and that sort of thing. Just basic instruments that you know and love. There's 12 notes. So what a scale does is it takes certain notes that work well together, and there is math that's involved in this, right? And those particular notes work well together. And so they work well together, and they're assembled into a scale, and so the chords are built upon that as well. So some people say, well, I really want to go outside of that. Well, then play the chromatic scale and learn how to play 12-tone music, which sounds like bunk. I mean, it's just like, it has no center. So there's a reason why we want to stick to these notes that sound good. There's a whole bunch of reasons why. And people always, you know, especially beginners, a lot of times are like, oh, I want to do something different. Well, play the basics first, okay? Before you're going to change the world with the guitar, learn the basics first, and then you can be a rock star and change the way things are. Don't come out of the gate thinking you're going to change the world without learning the basics. That's goofy, okay? I don't know of anybody that's ever done that. You got to learn the basics. You got to learn what you don't know before you can learn those things, right? So you really want to stick to the notes in the scale. That's the best idea. Regarding scales, is there an order in which to play? Can I start from any note on the scale, and do I have to go sequentially up or down? No, you can play any note, and you can do it, you know, and in fact, that's something good to do if you're playing in a particular key, is goofing around with those notes and playing them back and forth. And, you know, if you see the notes right there underneath your finger, goofing around with them, because that's going to get your ear trained so that you can improvise more. That was Jude on Facebook. Okay, I love all my guitars, especially my older ones. Doesn't it hurt to give away one of your personal guitars? Gay is saying. Kind of gay, but not really, because I really believe in giving back, and I believe that there's this thing that we have to do in life, and the more that is given, and I've been given so much. I mean, I have guitar manufacturers and people sending me pedals and amplifiers and all sorts of stuff, so I feel very, very blessed, and I'm also trying to get rid of stuff because I don't like to collect it, and I feel like it's much better to give it away. And there's a principle in the universe. You can say it's bunk, but I've followed both of them, and the one where you hoard on to stuff is a great way to not receive. So if you want to receive more stuff in your life, give away. Give away. Listen to me. It's the number one lesson that I'm teaching you today. Give stuff away. Give your heart. Give love. If you have time that you can help people out with, and you're going to see so much stuff coming back to you. Trust me, I've done it both ways, and this is a much more fun way to live life. So I love giving stuff away, and so it really doesn't hurt me. Now, there's certain guitars I wouldn't give away yet, like my Strat. I don't really want to give that away yet because I have a lot of love for that. I have a lot of love for this guitar too, but not like I do my 65 Strat. That would hurt right now. All right. Okay, Max, is it acceptable to use alternate chord fingering if it works within the song or makes it easier in transitions between chords? By all means, use whatever fingering works for you, but not because you're being lazy, okay? Do what works for you. Mary Beth is saying, don't they combine major and minor and call and response? Mary Beth, they can. You can do that, especially in blues. You can go back and forth between major and minor. Okay, it's the one genre that I've found that you can really go back and forth between the two. It's just a weird little thing. I remember when I discovered that with my guitar teacher. I said, "Hold on, this is a minor or this is a major key, but I'm playing a minor scale over it." And he's like, put his hands in the air. And this is John Pell, one of the most amazing, probably one of the best guitar instructors in the world. And he teaches here in Nashville. He's taught Dan Huff and a bazillion amazing guitar players, and he's a good friend of mine, and we meet every now and then, and I'll have questions for him, and he's just a great guy to get together with. But it's the one genre that you can actually do both a lot, and it sounds fun. Jonathan is saying, Eric, do you buy hazard insurance for your guitars or your equipment? I do. Mary Beth, what about, combining, okay, homeowners and renters insurance? Yeah, I've got all that. I do. It's important. Okay. All right, I'm bumping over to YouTube to get to some questions here, and there's a lot of them. Johnny Bravo, which I love that cartoon, is saying, how to create cool solos. You create cool solos, Johnny, by learning how to play very simple melodies at first. A lot of people want to just get into really cool solos and just blaze and what have you. Never works like that. Nobody since the beginning of time has ever done that. I'm not saying that that's exactly what you're saying, but how to create cool solos is to learn how to improvise, learn how to use basic bits and pieces first. Got to learn how to walk, how to crawl before you can learn how to walk, right? Johnny Bravo on YouTube, search YourGuitarSage Minimalistic Blues. YourGuitarSage Minimalistic Blues. Watch that video. Anybody who's wanting to learn how to solo, watch those videos. I might have several of them. That is what's going to teach you how to solo. Cool. Okay? Coolly, if you will. Also, learn other people's solos. I do this all the time. I'm constantly learning new solos. And what it does is it gives you vocabulary, just like my kid I was telling you about. He hears me say, I kick a couch and I say, ow, or I say something else. He's going to learn it, okay? So you learn through mimicking, okay? Great question. Great questions. How do you enter the free guitar giveaways? If you're not following me here on YouTube, you got to be starting there. So follow me here on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, follow me there. Honestly, follow all my social media, Twitter, Facebook, all those places, because I'm constantly announcing, or I should say, when I do have a giveaway, I will announce it on those, and sometimes one in one place and not the other. So it's important to be connected to all of those. And but we also have a giveaway page, and it's YourGuitarSage.com/ I forgot the name of it. YourGuitarSage.com/ we'll figure it out by the end of the broadcast. I'm sure we'll put it up. But I think maybe it's I don't know what it is. But Chris, do you know it off the top of your head?
No, but we'll announce it on social media.
Okay, yeah, we'll announce it on social media. Look, if you're not part of my social media, then go to Facebook, go to Twitter, go to Instagram, and look me up there. We'll post it there, okay? Videos on Les Paul. Yep, I have them on YouTube. Type in YourGuitarSage Les Paul. Harmonics. I have videos for that, Andrew, on YouTube. Type in YourGuitarSage Harmonics. The reason I say this is because I have created content for you, and I could tell you right now, but it would be like a 15-minute video when you're going to get it in more detail because I was in the headspace to teach about it then, and we'll give more material to you. So there's a reason that I say, yes, I have a video for that already, okay? And we don't want to take 15 minutes with every question here, right? So on YouTube, YourGuitarSage Harmonics. All right, bumping over to Facebook again. Can you play scales using only harmonics? Nigel's saying. Yeah, watch my video on harmonics, but technically I could do something like. Okay, it sounds better with a little bit of overdrive. And so that's one way if you watch my harmonics video. But if you're talking about actually just playing the notes, I remember trying to do this as a kid, and I think I came up with maybe like 6 out of the 8 notes that you could do it with. And it depends on the key, obviously, right? All right. Okay, I'm going to bump back a little bit here on Facebook, just make sure that I've got all the questions. Regarding scales, is there any order in which to play? Okay, that was asked before. Okay, I think I've gotten to all the... If a song's in the key of A, this is Sean McMillan from Facebook, he's saying, if a song's in the key of A, will you only play the notes in the A scale when soloing? Essentially, Sean, we've answered this in a different way, but it's kind of like this. If you're in the key of A major and the chords are not going outside of the key of A major, see the free course where I talk about the chords that represent each key. Then if we're in the key of A major, then those chords, basically the chords are made up of the scale notes in A major, okay? I can't get into a lot of detail of that. I do it in my courses, but that's a rabbit hole. Okay, so for instance, the chords in A major, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it would be major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Okay, and those chords are created diatonically, naturally, organically from the scale. So when those chords are playing, they're playing all those notes. So when you're soloing over it, they're gonna be harmonic together. Okay, they match. It's kind of like magnets that should match. Okay, so if you're playing if the chords are playing in the key of A major, yes, you should be soloing in the key of A major, unless the chord changes outside of a chord that's not in that chord family, and in that case, that's called a temporary key change or a borrowed chord. Very rare. Don't go down that rabbit hole if you don't know of the basics first, okay? Otherwise, that's called borrowed chords or temporary key change, and in that case, maybe for that one chord, you might play a note or two different, but typically only one note different than what you were playing before. Even in jazz, but a lot of people think a whole new scale as opposed to the chord changing, and it's just really one note that changes. So people do that in jazz all the time. I don't know why. I think it's a lot more confusing that way. Hello from Mexico. Rob, do I have any experience teaching sight impaired? I don't, Rob, but some of the best guitar players were blind. See, blind, melon, blank, whatever. I mean, there's like so many blind folks that I don't know. A lot of blind people. I don't know why they were going blind back then, but a lot of great blind blues players. Johnny Hyland is, if he's not totally blind, he's pretty blind, and he's an amazing player. So, feel. It all comes down to that. In fact, I teach people how to hit the lights and not look at your guitar and go on feel. So 99% of it is there. It's difficult for anybody at first, so I'd say just get used to playing by feel. Greg is saying, playing blues, how does someone play the 3rd, 5th, and 5th fret at the same time? Is this normal, and what fingers stretching exercise would you recommend? Greg, it sounds like you're thinking of a 7th chord, which is the 1, 3, 5, and 7th scale notes, not frets. Okay, so make sure we're talking about the same thing. You're not playing the 3rd, the 5th, and 7th note at the same time. If you are, it would look like that, right? We're not doing that. We're playing the 3rd, 5th, and 7th scale notes. So for instance, if I play a G7 chord, here's the 1, here's the 5, here's the 7, or we call the flat 7, here's the 3, and so on. But we're not playing frets 3, 5, and 7. But if you are looking for stretching exercises, if you're inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, look for exercise number 3. Okay, otherwise on YouTube, search Your Guitar Sage stretching. I'm sure I have something, but it's not going to be as cool as the stuff that are inside the system, obviously. What's your favorite scale? My favorite scale is probably the blues scale. Well, the most useful one is probably the major scale. What pickup and overdrive am I using? Right now, I'm using, these pickups are naturally, in the B and G, they're proprietary P90 pickups, and they basically are sound bucking or hum bucking P90s. I don't know how they do it, but normally P90 is a single coil pickup, and it has inherent sound that comes with it, just like any single coil pickup. But the folks at B&G have done something in their lab. They're mad scientists over there, and they've created these really cool proprietary P90 pickups. And the overdrives that I'm using today are, so what you're hearing here right now is this spark right now. This right here is just the amp itself. You know? Nice and clean there, you know? It's a spark. Here's the tube screamer. Here's the OCD. That's starting to get a little too much now, right? And here's the OCD on crack. Now we're getting into some crazy overdriven. So that's how my board progresses. It gets more aggressive here, but this is the spark that you're probably hearing a lot of. Right? So those are the ones I'm using right now, and I love that spark. It's just enough little punch there to break it up and make it sound really cool, you know. Max Heron on Facebook is saying, is it acceptable to use alternate chord fingering? Oh yes, we talked about that one. Sorry, I think we got to all of those. Joe Briscoe on Facebook is saying, when I improvise playing the blues, I'm not sure my notes are matching the backing track chords. Any ideas? Joe, on YouTube, search. I'm telling you, this is the video for you, Joe, and everybody who wants to learn how to play blues or just how to improvise, how to use scales over chords. Listen to me. Write it down. YourGuitarSage, this is on YouTube, YourGuitarSage Minimalistic Blues. I have a jam track for you there as well. Free jam track, okay? I got like 600 in my course, but I'm putting some free ones out there on YouTube as well. YourGuitarSage Minimalistic Blues, or YourGuitarSage Call and Response, okay? That's going to get you on the right page, and you're going to start understanding stuff, okay? All right, bumping up a little bit more here. Max, that's the best thing I've learned. Give away. It's true, buddy, man. I'm telling you, the universe will pour itself out to you. Give of yourself, and it will pour itself onto you. I know it. I've seen it. I see people hoarding stuff, and it's weird. The people hoarding stuff don't have stuff. All right. Okay. Good stuff. Got any tips for playing the F chord? Steve, yes, on YouTube, search YourGuitarSage effing. E-F-F-I-N-G. It's not what you think. YourGuitarSage effing F chord. E-F-F-I-N-G. And I'll show you how to play the F chord step by step. There's no way that you cannot get it if you watch this video. You'll have to just quit, okay? It's piece by piece, okay? Watch that, Steve. David's saying, I'm terrible with chording bar chords. Do you have any videos about helping with maybe even dexterity or hand strength? Dave, yes. Strengthen your hand with anything, like some putty or something like that. But watch the same video I just told Steve about, effing F chord. And then both of you guys watch after that, type in YourGuitarSage bar chords, a 2-part series that are absolutely going to get you playing bar chords. There's some tricks, there's some things to know and ways to practice, but once you do it, once you watch those, you're gonna understand, okay? William Otto is saying, I saw a video of House of the Rising Sun. I love that video. And they were holding the guitars almost upright. Is there a benefit to having the neck up near your left shoulder? I've seen that one, right? They're doing like this, you know. No, it just looks friggin' cool. And I love that video. They were so vibey, the animals. Nope, it just looks cool. There's absolutely no benefit other than getting babes. Are you ever going to give away the little sister guitar? Mary Beth is saying, I don't know. I might, but probably not this one, because I am in love with this one. I'll talk to the kids at B&G and see if maybe we can get a giveaway going, but we'll see. If they say yeah, then yeah. Matthew Walker saying, hey, Eric, I've got a baritone coming in tomorrow. This is from Facebook. It'll be fun. She's tuned to A, loving the Unstoppable guitar system. Was wondering if you had plans on covering baritones. Matthew, I believe I do, because I have a baritone guitar. On YouTube, search YourGuitarSage baritone. At what stage would you recommend getting effects pedals? I would say when you need them. You would know it because you're like, well, I really need an overdrive pedal, or I need a delay to do this particular sound. So if you're not, obviously with electric guitars, on acoustic guitars, I wouldn't even bother with it, because an acoustic guitar should sound like an acoustic guitar, IMO, in my opinion. But if you have an electric and you want to get into that sound and you're trying to mimic some folks, then that's what you want to do. You want to say, well, okay, the Edge from YouTube is using these effects in this order, in this way, then get into it. Otherwise, it can be confusing otherwise. If you want to know more about effects on YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage effects, E-F-F-E-C-T-S. And if you want to know what type of effects to purchase, well, my board, I love the stuff on my board, especially the M5, the Line 6 M5. It's one of my favorite pedals, and it's a great education. In fact, if you're looking to get into it, this guy right here, this M5, is the best pedal because it's like 100-something effects built into one effect. And this little guy right here is about $120. It's about the most affordable. In fact, out of all the pedals on here, this is probably the most affordable one. The Ditto maybe like 110. This guy's 120, something like that. The most affordable pedal here, and it does the most. It's an amazing pedal, and it's a great education, so it'll teach you all about that. If you want to know how to get that or any of these pedals that I recommend, go to yourguitarsage.com/gear or kit.com/yourguitarsage. I think we'll have the link inside the description of this video, but if you want to know my gear recommendations, any of my gear recommendations, guitars, picks, acoustic, electric, amps, effects, all that stuff, check out that link, okay? Okay, Joey's saying, just tuned again, Eric. You went over the pedal board and your preference. I can't find that video to save my arse. Where to find, please? Joey, type in YourGuitarSage on YouTube. Type in YourGuitarSage pedals, okay, or pedal board. If you're inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, you will search for the Ultimate Pursuit of Tone. We have a big series there with my guitar tech, Greg Ellis, who building this new guitar. You might have seen me mention it on my social media. Greg and Pat Stockdale at Franklin Guitar were creating this insane guitar. I'm so excited about it. I'm going to let you know more about it as it's going on. But that's where you want to look, Joey. Also, you could type in YourGuitarSage effects. You'll probably find it under that. Okay, great. I'm going to bump over to YouTube, and then we're going to call it because I want to get to some questions lastly here on YouTube. You guys have been super patient. Thank you so much. And yeah, also, if I hadn't mentioned it in a little while, if you share this video after the broadcast, Chris and I will go through and find 5 folks who are going to win today. We love sending stuff out. So 5 winners are going to win one of my CDs, signed copy of my book, the Guitar Mastery Simplified, a physical copy of that, and we're going to send that out to you. If you are overseas and we have a hard time getting the book to you, then you'll win 3 of my books. You'll win the ebook bundle, which is a $23 value, and that is, you can see that on my website, YourGuitarSage.com, and then click on ebooks if you want to know more about that. I've got 3 ebooks out there. Oh, and then one of those winners of the 5 is going to win my DVD of, hold on, it's coming to me, the National Number System. Okay, I talk about it all the time. Literally, that one concept will absolutely, it's the number one thing I've ever learned on guitar. It's the number one thing I've ever learned about music is the Nashville number system and understanding how to think about music in numbers. Okay, I know for a lot of you that's going over your head. For some of you, you understand this concept, and those of you that have taken the time to delve into it, like anything, if you take a little bit of time to delve into it, my gosh, how much you'll glean from it is insane. And so one of those winners are going to win a very limited copy of this DVD. I got forgot how many of them from TrueFire when I did this series, like 25 of them, and I think we might have like 2 or 3 left, literally, and I'm not going to print any more. Okay, if you want to know about it, you can go to TrueFire and check out that series that I did for them. Okay, or I also have that course inside the Unstoppable Guitar System. Okay, it's a different in my studio here, not their studio, but it's the same material. Okay. LJN on YouTube is saying, what's the best simple drum machine to use as an accompaniment with a stop-start foot switch? I don't have it hooked up right now, but I would say the Beat Buddy, and I have a video review for that. Go to YouTube and type in YourGuitarSage Beat Buddy. That is so cool. I love that thing. It's amazing. Okay, Jerome from YouTube is saying, is there really a difference between an amp for acoustic and an amp for electric? Yes, really, there is. And in fact, I would say for an acoustic guitar, don't get an amp. I don't know, unless there's some real specific reason why you need an amp. To me, it's a waste of money. That's why it's an acoustic guitar. You're sitting right there with it. You are the amp, or the guitar's the amp. It's loud. So unless you're busking or doing some sort of gig where you need an acoustic amp, I'd say don't waste the money, because they're usually very expensive, because they need to be full range, not just one speaker like an electric guitar amp. And when you run an acoustic through an electric guitar amp, they don't sound very good because it's only one speaker, and they need a full range. They need highs and lows and mids, whereas an electric guitar, the specific reason why it sounds that way is because it's running through an electric guitar amp, and that's what our ears are used to. Okay, great question. Okay, should I practice my pentatonic scales top to bottom, or pick one scale and practice it through the whole fretboard? I would say to start, just practice it from top to bottom. So like when you're practicing your pentatonic scale, practice it from 1 octave on the 6th string to the 2nd octave on the 3rd octave, I should say, on the 1st string, and then come back. So for instance, pentatonic, A minor pentatonic will look like this. That's the way I would suggest doing it at first. Then later on you can get into more details, like I have in the Unstoppable Guitar System. I have my pentatonic scales, my blues scales, diatonic or major, major minor mode type scales. And I show it to you all over the neck in all different keys, or the way to think about it in all different keys. It would be a waste of your and my time to be teaching it in all the different keys, just like it'd be a waste of time to teach you, to sit down and teach you how to count to 1,000,000. You know how to count to 1,000,000 because you have 1 through 9 and you got the zeros. You know how they stack up. Same thing with chords and scales. If you understand it the way that I teach it, then you're not that guy who's constantly buying reference books and learning each scale and each chord that way. That's a waste of time. I don't know, honestly. I mean, these reference books, they sell them to people that think that that's the way to learn, because I have never owned one of these, never had a need for it, because it's up in here, and it's way better here than me going, oh, where's that book, because I really need a C scale right now. It's like, no, it's here. And it's super easy to get it here, way easier than it is to go get the book, I promise you. Start with the free series, I promise you. Do this, I'm not lying to you. I'm spending an hour and a half with you here. I'm not lying to you, I'm trying to help you. Why? Because I'm passionate about it, and I love doing this stuff. It's super fun. Okay, I'm going to take 2 more questions, and then we're going to call it, okay? Can you end each live video with a quick improvised blues session? Yes, I will do it here. I'll lead out with a blues bit, okay? And one more question. Is it, yeah, it is a beautiful guitar and sounds great. Thank you so much, Tim. I really appreciate that. How do you make your AM blues noodling not sound like it's running through scales? Sean is saying. Sean, at first it did sound like I was just running through scales. Okay, so for instance, let's do this. Here we go. So we got this little 12-bar blues chord progression going, right? And so at first, what happens is that you'll take a blues scale and you'll just play it like this. Hold on. And you might just play through the blues scale like... it doesn't sound like much, right? Because it would be similar to learning how to talk like this, and you're like, I know a bunch of words because I have a dictionary and I talk, and then I'm going to use as many words as I can, because if I use all those words and I keep talking like this, then I'm going to use all the words, and the words are really going to matter, and it's going to make me sound super intelligent. No, it's not. The words aren't going to make you sound intelligent. Your emphasis is going to make you intelligent. If a caveman drops a rock on his foot, he's going to go, "Argh!" He doesn't have a word for it, but you kind of know what's going on, right? Or if a really hot cave woman looks at you and she's like, right? You're going to be like, you know what time it is, right? You don't need to have language. So in the same way, we don't really need to have scales. The scales are helpful, but we really need to learn how to use the scales. That was a weird analogy. But we have the scale, right? And so what we need to learn is we need to learn how to speak. So just like I mentioned, my 2.5-year-old, right? He learns to speak by, if I kick the couch, I'm going to say one thing. If he does something great, I'm going to say something else. If he's, I teach him how to say potty or poopy if he has to go to the bathroom, right? Or if he's hungry, So that's how you want to think. You want to think very, very simply, okay? And the way to get good at this is to watch the minimalistic blues videos. Within the Unstoppable Guitar System, I have a whole series of that, and Callandresponse, I have a whole series of that, and I have a couple little videos on YouTube like that. But the idea is this. is that if I got this playing, I'm going to take a very small part of the neck. In fact, I'm going to take these notes right here. So really, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the pentatonic scale. Okay, I might throw a blue note in there every now and then, but really, that's it. 4 places on the neck. I might bend, but nonetheless, this is all I'm going to work with. Is this one little section. So if you just think like a little kid saying he only has a few words to say. She only has a few words to say. She's going to use them in the right place. That's how you want to think. It's how you want to think about songwriting. It's how you want to think about guitar playing. It's how we want to think about improvisation, soloing, anything that you do. Anything in life, you want to get the basics first and learn that. Once you get that, then you can expand from there. But if you can't get the basics, you're not going to get the heavy stuff, right? The extra stuff. So I'm going to think real small. And I do this still. So I'm playing this chord progression, right? So I'm going to learn by just playing the notes. The other thing I want to think about is I want to think about breathing, okay? So again, when I'm talking, I'm using inflection, I'm pausing, that sort of thing. Instead of talking like this because I know all the blues notes and I'm playing them all over the scale, all over the fretboard, that's not going to sound good because that sounds very monotone, idiotic. I'm not pausing. We're used to this sort of cadence, right? This sort of speaking, right? So in the same way, we do this with our notes. You're going to have to experiment, okay? But use a couple notes and just see how they sound, right? That's the A, so that's going to sound really good because that's the key it's in. Keep coming back to it if you want to just really, be safe. Come back to that A every time. Now that sounds a little simple because I'm overdoing the A, but if I want to stretch out a little bit, that's what I call minimalistic blues because I'm just taking 3 or 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just bending and sliding and just giving it some feel, some nuances, you know what I mean? So that's how you want to do this, okay? So with all that being said, friends, I'm going to exit here in just a minute and I'm just going to play that and we're going to fade away and we'll put up some links for you. Just don't forget, share this video. We're going to pick some winners after this. You have a place to get gear now. All the gear that I recommend is stuff that I have reviews for and stuff that I believe in. Otherwise, I wouldn't put it up there. It's my reputation on the line. I've got the free course for you, YourGuitarSage.com/30. All those links will be in the video. This will be on Facebook and it'll be on YouTube after, so you can watch to your heart's content. Check out those videos that I'm talking about. And the number one thing that you could do other than give away of your soul, right, and your heart and everything else that I mentioned here today is go to YourGuitarSage.com/30. That foundation, I'm telling you. Visit me here in Nashville. I'm going to be teaching you the same exact stuff. It's going to cost about $1,000, and you're going to walk away knowing so much about the guitar that it's just not even funny. You're going to have a great foundation, but I'm giving it to you for free today. So check that out, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Other than that, thanks so much for joining me here. I appreciate it. We usually do this every Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Join us for the live broadcast, I think we said, on the 24th. Oh, YourGuitarSage.com/live. You can sign up for my live events there. That's what I meant. We don't have a giveaway place. It's the YourGuitarSage.com/live. That's where you find out about that stuff. Okay, I'm going to be leaving with this, and yeah, that's it. I don't think anything else. Love you guys. Thank you so much for the great questions, and thank you so much for your attention. This was a great great broadcast. Had a great time. Here we go.
Boom.